DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
Welcome back live into DETV Sports. The crew is back after a couple-week hiatus here. We let you breathe after the Super Bowl. Now it's time to get back and talk about everything sports going on here around the world. Nick Alessandrini, Jason McCall, and Matthew Maurer. Dennis Pritchett running the show here in the control room. Guys, it's been a nice little 2-week layoff here as we return, but a lot of stuff has happened since then. But before we dive in to everything sports, Jason, how are you feeling? Good to have you here. And you're coming off a debut at Dell State as a color commentator for the basketball team. Congratulations on how that's been going. A multi-game job for you. So talk a little bit how that was. I know me and you had a chance to talk a little bit about it, and you've been to some of the high school stuff I've done, and we've done the stuff at the Blue Coats and courtside at the Riverfront. But talk a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, you know, I was prepared for the job based on the work we've done here, the three of us at DETV over the past 3 years. So shout out to us. For the experience, and I could reach out to both of you guys to get pointers here and there, just to make sure I'm cool. It's always good to, iron sharpens iron. So it's always good to get that kind of thing. But it was a dream come true. Calling games on ESPN Plus, calling games at home in Dover. I'm alma mater, Delaware State. Getting to call two amazing sets of games, especially the game last Monday with the overtime victory over North Carolina Central, which actually made some national sports show highlights. And just being, like I said, shout out to Chi-Chi, former women's basketball player at Delaware State, who had a sub in for calling the game. So thank you for the shout out and the request and everything. So, but yeah, it was good to be in Dover. Good to be good to Coach Waterman. Yeah. He's the guy to talk to. When we talk offline anyway, so I get ask him his keys to the game, that kind of thing, and even Coach Jazz for the women's team. Everybody was very helpful, receptive. Shout out to the rest of the crew. ESPN camera crew was amazing. Maybe it could be a start or something, but
that's right.
Who knows, But calling the games and have friends text me, call me, man, you on ESPN? What's going on here? So that was refreshing to see. But it was a dream come true. And that last Monday's game had to be my mom's 75th birthday, so to see her dream realized on her birthday, nothing could top that, ever.
That's right. That was a hell of an experience. And I remember Dell State looking to grab MEAC championship this year. Again, they were so close in that final game against Howard last year. Coach Waterman and the crew, let's see if we can bring that home this year for sure. Rooting for the Hornets on that one. And Matthew, how are we doing? Great to have you back as well. And again, the credibility continues to grow here at the table on DETV Sports. What you've been up to here the last couple of weeks, I'm sure you've gotten some NBA stuff going on, NFL draft around the corner, and it's great to be back.
I just stayed in the house, watched the combine. It's always
interesting this year in Indy. Yeah. A little bit of a lot of people, and we're going to talk about it, but a lot of people sitting out this year. This was one of the years that I did so much work going, so I didn't make it over there, and I'm not too upset about it because it seems like not a lot of people worked out over there this year.
No, I think this is going to be an issue that they're going to have moving forward. Yeah, I think some of the NFL draftees are starting to catch what the NBA draft has had to deal with the combine.
Blame the NIL, folks. This is the residual effect of the NIL.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, how's everything going with the NBA? I know we're diving in. All of us starting to pay a little bit more of attention to the league or to the association here as we go forward into almost March and April in the postseason.
Yeah, it's still a bad product right now. I'm not going to lie.
A little harder to watch.
People can lie if they want to and act like it's some great product right now. But, look, it's getting better. It gets better as the playoffs start to emerge and teams got to really make games count more. So, I'm looking forward to it. And I see you, San Antonio. I know what you guys are doing. Fake shutting things down, trying to get that Cooper flag.
Yeah, we all see it.
Oh, the Tim Duncan? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, they're doing the Duncan.
Oh, no, really? Then we have to talk about that. Again, we're going to have a lot to get into here tonight to start. And speaking, Matthew, you just talked about the league and the product like that. I just saw an interview with LeBron James a little while ago. He was bad-mouthing the media and blaming them for kind of saying, hey, those guys don't talk good about us or the new generation and all that kind of stuff. Did you happen to see that?
Yeah, I saw that trash.
Well, we'll get your thoughts on that then here quickly.
At a certain point, the NBA apologists, and that's the NBA players, that's the podcast arena, that's all these people that make their money talking about the league. they got to stop pushing the blame on everybody. First, it's inside stuff. Then it's with the NBA. Then it's this random person who made a video. Then it's the 90s basketball. Then it's nostalgia.
Shannon Fry.
Yeah, then it's all this nonsense. And at the end of the day, listen, it's not the reptilians. It's not the Bilderberg group. Put the tinfoil hats away. It is the problem. It's not even on the players. That's the thing that LeBron doesn't understand. It's not on the players. It's on these really crappy offensive philosophies that the NBA teams have tied themselves to with the analytic age that we've entered into. These analytic guys, they run their numbers and they tell them that they got to hit a certain mark of threes every game, and they've incentivized just taking threes. And when you do that, the product suffers. And you know what LeBron has to understand, and what a lot of fans I think are seeing is when the investment is so high. So like everybody's watched Cooper Flagg since his sophomore year in high school. They've seen it. They saw Victor Wembanyama, which is unprecedented. They saw him a full 2 years before he was in draft eligible. Right? That never happens. But we're in an age now where the investment is at an all-time high. People are seeing mixtapes. People are seeing what guys do. I mean, quick question. When's the last time you guys saw a Zion Williamson dunk that left you breathless like it was when he was at Duke and when he was at the...
He had one earlier in the season. I'm not going to lie. He had one earlier this season.
Yeah, Shaden Sharp had one. I mean,
that
was nasty.
That was...
But that's what I'm saying. They're far and few between because the playing style is not going to the rack and making...
The basket,
yeah, it's about not attacking the basket, but attacking the three-point line. So when you do that, plays that the fans have become accustomed to seeing these guys do, they don't get, and then it leads to a game that just looks bad. It doesn't lend itself very well to the viewing experience. So LeBron, as usual, doesn't want to be honest about what's really at play here. And what's really at play is you got 30 teams, no matter the talent, all playing the exact same way. So where's the diversity in playing style? Where's the team that plays down low and then goes out? Where's the team that plays outside and goes in? Where's the team that do a half-court offense? Where's the team that does the fast break offense? Where's the team that hunts the threes? Well, everybody hunts the threes now. That's the problem. Everybody wants to be Golden State. And what people don't understand is you can't be Golden State. They happen to luck into a situation where they drafted two of this generation's best shooters of all time, and Clay and Steph. If you don't have that, you can try to build it all day long. It ain't gonna look the same, and that's the problem. You got a product that don't look what they want to build, and they think the more threes, the better we're gonna get, and that's not the situation.
And on top of that, you can't keep tinkering with the All-Star format. That was the worst All-Star
I agree with
weekend. Forget just.
Besides our guy Mac bringing home 3 straight, it was.
Oh my God.
Hey, friend of the program.
Yeah, shout out to Mac, but
shout out to Mac and the Ocelia Magic, man.
But it's
wasn't Orlando Magic.
But the NBA All-Star game is
Shouldn't even be allowed.
Trash.
It should.
But also, I want to agree for once with Draymond Green what he said. The Rising Stars should have been able to play in the All-Star game. You have to earn your right to get to the actual All-Star game itself. The Rising Stars game, yes, that's your showcase, but to win that fake tournament to get into the All-Star game itself, nah, that's kind of crazy to me. But even with the NBA, as far as alluding to Matt's point, an NBA game today is nothing but a glorified shoot-around with occasional defense. Even with my beloved Celtics, they take way too many threes. I've been on air saying this the last 3 years. Like I hate the way they play.
What do they? I think they're number one in the league.
Number one in
averaging
attempts.
48 threes a game.
But my thing is this: when you have your best player is 6'10", 240, you got Jaylen Brown at 6'8". You can get to the rim at any given time. You can post up at any given time. Drew Holiday goes to the rack more than both of them. Derek White goes to the rack more than both of them. Peyton Pritchard goes to the rack more than Tatum and Brown. It's the NBA's product right now. And then not only do you have the three-point barrage, you have the step-back phenomenon where half of them are travelers, but it's not being
Thank
called.
James Harden for that one, right? But yeah, nobody. And to Matt's point, James Harden,
yeah.
1 of 1, in that scenario. Not a lot of people can.
It's just
can take that.
it's the product's bad. They don't admit to it. The college game is a pure game, and
Almost time for March, and we'll
It's
have
almost
our,
time for March,
our
though.
bracket breakdown here in a
here
few
we go.
weeks.
But that's all I want to say about the NBA right now.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Jason Tatum, and there's been a conversation going on here as of late about who should be the face of the NBA. Going forward, I'm sure everybody's been or had a part in that conversation. Anthony Edwards coming out saying he didn't want to be the face of the NBA, and then you have Tatum on the other hand, who's upset that he isn't the face of the NBA. He came out and say something like that. I see Matt's face now, and that's the reaction I thought I might get. And I want to ask you as well because he's your guy there, Jason. But what do you think about Matthew? Why can't Jason Tatum be the face of the league coming off an NBA championship, obviously in the mix for MVP, in the top, 5 to 7 guys, it seems like the last couple of years. What is it about Tatum, and should he be, and why isn't he capable of being the face of the NBA?
Respectfully, he ain't got the game. And I mean that in the most respectful way possible.
I think it's more, yeah, go ahead.
Because you got to think, the face of the league, who was the face of the league? We had Magic. We had Bird. So Magic was the flamboyant passer. Bird was the all-around tremendous player, skill through the roof. Then you had Jordan. You had Dr. J. These guys were aerial artists. You had Kobe Bryant. I mean, you had different guys coming. You have LeBron James. Jason Tatum's good, elite even. But when you're saying the face of the league, I don't think Jason Tatum generates excitement. When I watch Jason Tatum play, I mean, again, I'm a basketball lover, so I respect all the moves. But if I'm a fan that's paying its money, it's like, I mean, he's nice. He can play. It's just, is he like John Morant? Is he like Anthony Edwards? Is he like some of these other guys that are a little bit more dynamic? No. And that's fine. He's got where he's at being who he is, so all respect. But that's what the face of the league has to be.
Let's be honest, though. I'm going to go a step further. I kind of disagree with that point. I think he has the tools and all that stuff. Game's proven. But let's be honest about NBA and the Boston Celtics. You aren't going to find too many NBA lovers pushing for Celtics superstars outside of the previous exciting whites of the Celtics. And when I say that, I mean Larry Bird, Cousy, and Hondo. Outside of that, those three, the NBA didn't even market Bill Russell. He was hated in his own city. The NBA never marketed Sam and Casey Jones in Boston.
Bill Russell
The NBA never really marketed Paul Pierce because he was in an era with AI and the rest of those guys. So Kobe era. So it's a luck of the draw, honestly, with Boston. The other superstars are always in a different era with other people who, to your point, are more skilled or more dynamic. So I think they suffer from that because if we're being told, truth be told about a superstar, skill set wise, and I test, it should be Jaylen Brown. He's the one that's the more dynamic player from an athletic standpoint. Everybody knows that.
He'll get you on your feet.
He'll get you on your feet a few times a game. But Boston's not going to happen. Like I said, the last real superstar the NBA pushed in Boston was Larry Bird. Hasn't been anybody since. Reggie Lewis was going on that track, but tragically he passed away. But Paul Pierce never got a pub either. So, I mean, it happens in Boston.
Well, and if not those guys, I mean, Boston, not this year, but for the last 3 years, has been kind of sitting, at that number 1 ranked. If you were to look at maybe a power ranking of both the Western Eastern Conference, OKC right in the mix there. If you're not looking at Tatum, who would you guys maybe go to, or who would you have as your face of the NBA? If you had to pick somebody like that. I mean, again, looking at this year, it's been a weird year, as we all know. Cleveland's been unbelievable. Not sure if you take anybody up from the Cavaliers, the Knicks. They're in the mix. OKC, I mean, Shea's been fantastic, but he kind of doesn't have, that type of star charisma, stuff like that. Highlight play type of guy. He's got a mid-range jumper, type player. So, who is it? Who would be your guys' face of the NBA now? I mean, you look at the Timberwolves. I would have said Edwards last year. But the way that they've been playing, they make the trade with Towns. Randall comes in. He's been hurt. He just came back yesterday. They got to win yesterday. But they're sitting at the 8 spot right now. Nobody's sitting at the 8 spot. Might be the face of the NBA at this moment in time, especially when he doesn't want it to be. And Anthony Edwards. For me, when I'm looking at it here, I'm still looking maybe at Luka Doncic here the next couple of years, especially now that he's in LA, a team that everybody is going to build up and talk about no matter what's going on out there, unfortunately. What about you, Jason? What do you think?
Let's be honest. Ja was the new face of the NBA.
Yeah, a couple years ago, right
before the gun charges and the
I'm
injuries.
with you.
Ja was the
He
new
was.
face.
I think he could have won MVP that potentially.
Ja was the new face, and then the
been
gun,
2 years,
and the
though.
gun, and then the injuries subsequently after that.
He can get back there in a year or two. They're playing well.
Ant-Man doesn't want it, but unfortunately, he actually is the face right now. Like, if you want to point the one player who would be like the most exciting player to watch, people want to get league pass and stuff to go see, it's Anthony Edwards.
He'd be on my short list for sure.
MB had a chance, and then he just
And we'll talk about
flamed
him
out.
shortly.
I'm gonna give you another name that's gonna that could probably surface. I think Tyrese Maxey has a legit shot because of the market he plays in. Well, a lot of people can't shoot, but
you can shoot. I don't know. I wouldn't just say can't shoot.
a player that we've bashed, but because his team is good, possibly Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell.
Oh,
Go, Matthew. Go. Why not Donovan
man, Donovan Mitchell. What did we just say, Devin Booker? Like, come on,
I
man.
mean,
Nah, man.
They already tried that.
And Mitchell, and again, to Mitchell's credit, this year the numbers are down, but again, he's been distributing,
I don't care.
letting the other guys get
He's
involved
a-
more. He's become more of a leader this year.
He's a volume scorer, man. He ain't
More if this
he's
year he's
all right,
toned
but
it down.
he's
He's
not
toned it
real.
down. I think
But-
that's why they've been so good.
But to the next point, by default, it's actually Luka. There's a way around
I'm saying
that.
Luka.
and
I think
that's
LA would be
why
Luka.
and that's why the NBA is in terrible shape.
The European stars are face of the league.
European stars ain't never going to work with the NBA product.
And again, it's
It
not
barely
like,
works in hockey.
And when you think of Luka, he's not the most athletic. He's a slower guy who slows the tempo down. Kind of not. I want to say ugly basketball, but
It's ugly
not
basketball.
explosive or anything like that. But I'm still think I have to go with Luka regardless. And maybe it's because it's
That's
situational.
nasty.
The NBA is also they're trying to force feed Jalen Brunson, but it's something about his game. I just don't.
I'm a big Brunson guy,
But they're trying to force feed him to be a star of the NBA because he played for New York too.
it's
But
brutal out there. I think that's the
Give me
conclusion that
Cade
we're coming.
Cunningham, bro. This is,
I would
Oh,
take,
there you go.
there
You know,
this is nasty, bro.
Cade's been playing.
I mean, we going.
he's going to be
I'm
all
okay
NBA
with that,
this
though.
year. I think he could be.
I am
all-NBA,
okay with
right?
that. I'm okay with Cade. I'm okay with Wemby and a healthy De'Aaron Fox next season.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see,
And
we'll
I
talk
mean-
about Wemby too here in a little while.
And I
It's
mean,
kinda
here's
scary,
the fly in the ointment in a way is the part of this whole discussion that no one really wants to get into because it's nasty and it's messy is we don't have a North American player that's going to come in and pass that torch, have the torch passed to them. We don't have the Jordan to Kobe to LeBron handoff. We have right now
The LeBron to the Europeans.
And right now it looks like the Europeans are the ones that are closer to getting the baton passed to them. And
even some of the Canadians and Shea and
yeah, I
some
don't
of the-
consider Canadians ain't real. They ain't real international guys to me. Respectfully.
Okay, yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Because we share the same basketball infrastructure. They come over here, they train,
good
they
point.
go to the same schools that our guys go to.
Yeah,
And I'm not
they
saying
both
all
went
of them
to
are like
colleges
that.
in the United
Yeah.
States.
So
I'm
to
with
me,
you. Jamal
they're
Murray
North
and-
American. So to me, that's how I look at it. The North American basketball
Yeah, for
infrastructure.
sure.
So I think like a lot of fans knew about Shea at Kentucky. And,
Exactly right.
so-
Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray, yeah. So it's a little different. I would think if it's somebody like if we're talking about like a Victor or
Luka,
Luka, yeah. that's a
Again,
little-
they're not American-born players.
no, and Jokic and Giannis.
Absolutely.
But I will say this is a conversation I had with somebody recently. I think Jokic is going to get another MVP
This
he's
year.
playing good. He's playing
This
well
year.
again this year. Yeah.
this year. And I'll say this, and people hate that I talk about this, but I'm going to say it anyways. So this will be, what is it going to be?
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5
The
years.
Embiid mixed in, right? Yeah.
And he has one title.
Won finals, right?
One finals,
Appearance
one
period,
title.
yeah.
So I always ask this question. If he doesn't win this year, he gets the MVP award. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think he's going to get another MVP award. Because, and people will say, well, what difference does that make? It's a regular season game. Perfect example. I explain why I say this. Because LeBron, he won titles during time
Kobe
he was
as well.
Mike,
Yeah.
same period of time. So you're telling me that this guy has been the most dominant player of the last 5 years, and he's only been in the NBA Finals one time, and he's only won one time. If he wins another MVP and they don't make it to the NBA Finals, I don't think he'll get another MVP.
Well, then let me ask you this, James, because to your point here, when you look at it cross sports wise, you kind of look at Lamar Jackson this year, right? Kind of thought he was going to win the MVP, hasn't been to the Super Bowl yet, kind of like a similar thing there, and then he ended up not getting it. Josh Allen got his first one in that process. Do you see that as similar? Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
No, I don't see. Kind of similar, but not really. But to Matt's point, we're putting Jokic in another stratosphere that I don't think he truly deserves.
Exactly.
I think when we're in an era of such padded stats and inflated assist numbers where assists seem to be easier to count in the modern NBA. Like 10 years ago, they won't be that
They
hard.
give you one a little bit quicker nowadays.
Yeah, a lot quicker.
The score people are a lot nicer.
Because truth be told, the NBA hated on LeBron so much. LeBron really has 7 MVPs right now.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and Kobe should have way more.
Kobe should at least have 3 or 4.
Yeah, at least.
Well, the Steve Nash ones don't count. But,
two for another Canadian up north there.
But no, but like LeBron should have 7 MVP awards.
Yeah,
like
you couldn't be upset if he did,
like
because you could make the argument.
Like I think he has what 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
He should have 7. I mean, even right now, why is a 40-year-old LeBron not in an MVP discussion with the number 2 seed in the West?
If you look
right
at the
now
numbers,
this year, at 40,
they flashed his numbers up there the other day. He's been playing. He had better numbers this year or since he turned 40 than he had when he won the MVP in Miami.
Yeah, the 2013-2014 season.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know why he ain't getting another one. Y'all know.
Yeah,
Enlighten us.
The Euro.
I'm going to say this respectfully, and every time we talk about Jokic, there's this weird subset of people that like to chime in, but there is a component that no one wants to talk about. And it's the elephant in the room. And when we were growing up, it was, I know Mike deserves it, but I just don't want to vote for him again. I got voters fatigue. Then LeBron comes along. I know he's really the MVP, but I got voters fatigue. Shockingly,
no voter fatigue.
No voter fatigue for Jokic.
None.
And, to me, it's always amazing that there's no voter fatigue for Jokic, and yet you're telling me, now, no matter what you guys say out here, and I challenge anybody to debate this.
In the comments.
So Mike and LeBron, 1 and 2, depending on where you put them. Mm-hmm. I don't care where you put them. They're 1 and 2.
I agree with that. Some people don't have LeBron at top 2.
Doesn't matter to me. Even if you don't. Point bottom is top 3.
Period.
I mean, I would put Kareem, Wilt, whatever. Point is, those guys are in that pantheon of GOAT list, right? You telling me Jokic on that list?
Not to me.
You telling me Jokic is even sniffing the top 3 of centers yet?
I think not yet. But let me ask you this: could he get there? Would say he wins
two
more championships before he retires?
Not a shot.
You're not sure he does it, or even if he
does?
Not
a shot. Because this is what you got to think about. And I always tell people this. You're talking about the heaviest position accolades-wise. You're talking about Bill. You're talking about Wilt. Shaq. You're talking about Hakeem. You're talking about Shaq. Moses Malone has 3 of them things. And he's not even in most people's top 5 list at center.
He should be.
And he got 3 of them things. Jokic got 4. He has 3. And he got the same amount of titles that Jokic got.
I'll give you 2 better. You got 3 centers from the 90s who are better than Jokic still, in my opinion. You got the Admiral, you got Patrick Ewing, and you got Alonzo Mourning are still better than Jokic.
No, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. Again, and to your point,
I was with you with the David Robinson. Then you just went left.
Let me ask you this again. So you're saying, and just to be clear here, say Jokic does, say they win it this year, and again, they haven't had Jamal Murray healthy.
2K?
I'm just saying they haven't had Jamal Murray healthy. When he's been good, they've been playing really well again here even this season. Say they win it this year, and then maybe 3 or 4 years down the road, so he has 3 championships. You're still like, will he then be in that top center discussion with 3 titles and potentially 2 or 3 of those Finals MVPs? I'm sure if they win it, he'd be in on that.
Would he be in that discussion?
Yes.
Not for me.
No, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Kareem, Wilt, and Bill. And I have Hakeem and Shaq.
And I was going to say,
right
I do as well.
That's the clear top 5, period.
I don't think Shaq.
And I know people don't want to talk about this, but the other side of this conversation is, who in that list I just named is he a better defender than? I'll wait.
None of them.
None of them.
He's got.
So everybody wants to concentrate on the passing. They don't want to talk about Wilt led the league in passing when you had to shoot it when you got it. You couldn't dribble. He led the league in assists. No one wants to talk about that. It wasn't like today where you throw the ball, I get 2 or 3 steps, layup, and then you get the assist. Wilt played at a time where he led the NBA in assists where you caught it, you had to shoot it. If you didn't, it didn't count as an assist.
Yep.
So he's on that list, and he's not a better shot blocker. Or personally, I think the greatest shot blocker is Hakeem Olajuwon. So,
that's just what it is.
I mean, he ain't on that list. So again, respectfully, I'm just saying, we're talking about, to me, the deepest position in probably all of sports. Maybe quarterback, I would say, probably
I'll
just as
that,
decorated. But the NBA started its whole existence with the center being, I mean, we ain't even talked about Mike. We ain't even talked about Nate Thurman. The
Walt
guys
Bellamy.
the guys in the low end, Wills Reed, like
Bill
Walton.
Walton.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about those guys. Those guys are like buried deep down there. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Wes
we're not even talking
Unseld.
about-
We didn't know none of these guys.
We're not even talking about them. We're just talking about the top guys. We're not even Robert Parrish. I mean, there's so many other guys.
Mark Eaton. I mean, we can keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, again, now just to go take the conversation back to the MVP, which is where it started.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to give you. I think it's clear. I don't understand how Shea is not the MVP.
I
this
say
year.
Shea should be
I mean, we
the-
had
the
this
last year.
discussion last year.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was in the mix there again.
should
But once
definitely
again,
get
they got the best league overall. They have the best net rating in NBA history. No team. I mean, in terms of overall production, this team this year for OKC, the best net rating in NBA history in the regular season as of this year. I think it's got to be SGA.
So that goes to what my personal belief is. I think that the player who's on the best team, that's the best player, I think he should get the award over the person that is not.
The
If
best
it comes
stats,
down
yeah.
to that, that's who you should give it to. That's why I've
32
never
points
had a
per game.
problem with Steve Nash's first MVP, although there is some disparity that I think Amari Stoudemire might have been the more valuable player on that team, but whatever. I'll give you. You say Nash, it's the second one I have a problem with Nash. Like, bro, you weren't even in the top team. Your team was like a fifth in terms of total league standings. You didn't lead the league in win shares. You didn't lead the league in player efficiency rating. So what'd you give him the MVP for?
Yeah, that's
But
what
here's
we
the
can
thing.
all I thought we could all agree on that one.
We're experiencing the same problem with Jokic that we were experiencing with Giannis a few years back.
Right.
The exact same with that exact same scenario again. Because Giannis has 2 MVPs and probably should only have one of them.
Right.
He got his championship in there.
If we're gonna be honest about it, but he did win MVP that year though.
No. And again, I mean, are we all right now? Would y'all have SGA number 1 on your MVP ballot?
Yeah, he's
I
on mine.
would, of course.
number
Of
1.
course.
I mean, and again, that is not. You would think that would be a common thing, but as Matthew alluded to, not yet. Jokic still getting a lot of the traction there. So I think at this point it could be a 2-man race with those two.
Yeah,
But we'll
and
see how
look,
that
he
goes.
deserves it. He's putting up really good
Yes,
numbers.
yeah, absolutely is.
I'm not going to say Jokic doesn't deserve his name. I'm saying, look, bro, if you got
numbers
4
are
of them
insane.
things, bro. You got 4 of them things. Like at some point, we got to start having a conversation. You got 3 of them. I'm sorry. You got 3. You got 3, right?
Yeah, 3 as of now could be
Right,
4.
could be
Yeah, they're-
4.
they're now, yeah.
So my question is, okay, if he's got 3 out of the 4, and we're talking about giving him a 4th out of 5 years. To me, that indicates a
Goat status.
dominance. Yeah, a goat. So like that's the conversation at the end of the day that we got to have. We got to have context to this now, and like it's different between like Lamar Jackson, who I did think was robbed of the MVP this year. But I will say this: at least I can kind of understand the logic. With Jokic, he's got the numbers. But if you're telling me that the game is about wins and losses, and you're telling me the game is about being the most impactful player on your team, I don't know how you don't give it to Shea.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, I don't get it. But also, I'm going to leave it with this. The only number 15 I respect in Denver is Melo. We can keep going.
Oh, wow.
I said it.
I had that Melo jersey.
Just like the only 34 I respect in Milwaukee is Ray Allen. That's just what it is to me.
And I want to say
Sure.
one more thing, too,
Yeah.
because, you got weirdos out here. Listen. Giannis, to me, already has a top 5 resume at power forward of all time. So people who think that we're like weirdos that don't like international players, you're a moron.
And
we already have him very
He
high
actually
up
led me
there.
right in. A nice transition there. I wanted to talk a little bit about Giannis this year. I mean, they're kind of flying under the radar. There's some really good teams in the East. Him and Dame have been playing pretty well.
Yep.
Under Doc Rivers. He's second in the league in scoring.
Say it again. Doc
31
Rivers, baby.
31
Y'all was
points.
trashing that man.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue there. 31 points a game for Giannis. It seems to be back, very strong. Is there a chance he could be, like you said, dude, he was the face of the NBA for those 2 or 3 years.
He still is to
after they
me.
won it. Can he still be the face
I
of the
think
NBA?
he still is.
Now
I think
that
he
he's
could.
come back healthy and looking as good as he is now.
I think he could. Yeah.
Listen, he made people look at Milwaukee as a destination. Like, Dame doesn't go to Milwaukee without Giannis being there.
But there's a lot of talk of whether Giannis is going to stay in Milwaukee here, depending on how the run goes this year.
Because he has Dame, he has to stay.
Well, how many years left does Dame have?
Like 2 or 3.
I wouldn't stay with Dame.
I mean,
He's playing well this year, though.
Dame Lillard is not a top 75 player.
Yeah, that's something that Matt's been on for a couple years.
yeah,
now.
I mean,
And no Clay, right? You're against Clay in the top.
Definitely against Clay. Clay's trash. But y'all go ahead.
how did Kyrie
Go ahead.
how was Kyrie not top 75?
Yeah,
Definitely top 75.
That's
Dwight Howard,
Dwight
top
Howard,
75.
T-Mac, Vince Carter. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Kyrie is.
Klay Thompson? Nah.
Kyrie.
He all right, but he not real.
But again, and to your point earlier, I know I just saw his name pop up. Is why I want to talk about. But Cade Cunningham, we got to talk about the Pistons. I mean, what?
Shout out to my boy JB.
I mean, that's the JB
Yeah.
staff.
JB got
had a
roots
chance
here,
growing
shorty.
up, seeing him a few times. I mean, him and his dad just unreal what he's doing now since going to Detroit. I mean, one of the biggest turnarounds in NBA history for where they are now. Cade's playing at an all NBA level, and they have been really good this year. I mean, who would have seen this coming out of Detroit
And
here?
shout out to a semi-local product in Jalen Duran, who's been trained here.
right.
That's a fact.
Shout out to my man Lavelle at 3&D. You know, he trained Jalen while he was here, so shout out to my boy for that.
That's right.
But yeah, no, I always thought the Pistons would be this good. This needed the right internal staff.
This is a huge turnaround.
No, but the talent has been there. Like, these players aren't in their first year there. They've been simply 3 or 4 years. They just had to have the proper
But when you
from top down to get them to actually.
but
play
when
like
you
something.
say it's the vets that have helped them this year with Hardaway,
Of course,
Bias, and
yes, I would.
Beasley,
and
right?
Malik.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
Malik
I would.
Beasley could be the most valued signing
I would.
in the NBA this year.
No, I would. I would say the vets and Cade finally being healthy again.
I mean, he's been obviously the engine for them. He's phenomenal. I mean,
Cade
we
ball.
obviously knew that he's been banging some injuries, but to see him finally, be as good as I think we all thought he could
And
be.
again, that's another name that we need to put in that possible superstar if they get good again on
Could be.
Oh, that's a
on a
fact.
consistent basis.
That's a
with
fact.
you.
Because Cade has a similar game to Ja, but he's a better shooter. Just as exciting, better shooter. So
I ain't gonna lie, Ja done, bro.
And do you really think so?
Yeah.
Like, why? And why is that? Like, mental, like over the last couple of years, like what has happened? Like Jason said, 2 years ago, he was on the way to an MVP potentially, a face of the league. I mean, he was putting up jaw-dropping plays every week. Memphis was a top 1 or 2 seed in the West. I mean, expectations were through the roof for a young team that people thought were going to be in contention every year for the next 5 to 10 years.
I can tell you why.
It's been odd. I mean, go ahead.
Ja might be Derrick Rose 2.0. That's the problem.
Like, is that what you think? It's injury related?
Yes. I think he's about to be. Some leather systems probably going to start. And
It seems like
but
it's
you know,
easy.
I'm a biggest Ja fan outside of Memphis.
Well, you think about him and Zion, 1 and 2 in that draft there, and both of those guys, as of late,
Guns and buns, man.
clip it.
Nah, but real. Let me just say this. Like this is the problem I have with and again, Zion. The same thing I'm saying about Ja, you can put double for Zion.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in energy and how do I say this? Like the flow of your career. We saw with what we're seeing in Cleveland with the Cleveland Browns, how if you get an interruption in your career, it can be disastrous for you. I mean, there was not anybody who didn't think Deshaun Watson was a franchise QB. Now we're at a position where he might not even have a job. And now we have a situation with, Zion and Ja, where they came in, all this hype, all this talent. You saw the talent
Like Zion through
the roof, and one couldn't control himself, with the ladies, and the other one couldn't control himself on the streets.
Yeah.
And the ego is a powerful thing with these kids. They got to learn how to balance the ego with the wealth and the fame and the attention that they get. And unfortunately, these guys, they failed that.
I mean,
Guess what? The problem is though, there are no more vets in the NBA.
That's true.
Everybody's the same age. Everybody's 23.
Like I said, unless you get into Miami, I feel like the Heat, maybe that culture.
Everybody,
the only one in the league.
like your home, your vet been in the league 3 years, and you're the same age. Like, there's no real vets. There are no 10, 12-year vets. There are no more UDs in the league. There's no more Kevin Willis's in the league. There's no more players like that. That steady role players, even when they play past their prime, but just stay on the bench as like an assistant coach. You don't have those players anymore.
Well, they did do a good job of getting rid of Lane Dylan Brooks, so AKA Drake 2.0.
That's right. Another he got in a little shoving match. Was it last night? Dylan Brooks and who did he get in a fight with last night?
Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He gives light-skinned brothers a bad name. I'm not for it.
Well, let's take a look at overall the landscape here. We haven't touched on kind of the standings here and just going forward. We're almost into the postseason, as I mentioned earlier. Cleveland, I mean, we talked about Donovan Mitchell, as you mentioned earlier. He's kind of taken the numbers are down a little bit, but everybody else's on the team numbers are up, and I think his efficiency is up there, so I think he's done a good job. 50-10 for Cleveland this year. They had a Boston coming off a gauntlet weekend, right? You get two big home games. I think it was Cleveland on Friday and then Denver yesterday. Cleveland got the win after being down 20 on Friday. As a Celtics fan, a team that's kind of the best team in the league, or won it last year, obviously the champions coming in. How are you scared at all or worried at all about Cleveland in the Eastern Conference? I mean, 50-10, they've been one of the most impressive teams, Kenny Atkinson and company, in a long time in terms of the way that they've been playing.
Concerned, yes. Worried, no. And I'll give you a stat. This is my prove my point. Who was the only team to not go on a 3-game losing streak in the last 2 years in the NBA? The only team, the Boston Celtics.
I had a feeling.
They're okay. There's been a lot of games this year either without Jalen or without Porzingis, and you forget that Cleveland game they were without Drew Holiday, who's been out for a minute.
Yeah, they were out. Yeah, both of them yesterday, right? Yeah.
And the Cleveland game as well.
Yep.
So the thing with Cleveland is, by them still being so young, I look at them like OKC. Can they prove it in the playoffs consistently in a series? Like OKC is more inclined to go further than Cleveland because OKC at least made it to the conference finals.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, right? Because last year, the whole talk was nobody was scared about OKC. They were like this. They blitzed the West. They got out to a number 1 seed, kind of not shockingly, but out of nowhere. And then they got to the playoffs, and none of those teams that had success, for those years were worried about them at all. The coaches, if you asked anybody around the league, they were not worried about OKC. This year, that might change because here they are again, a little bit, that you said, haven't been there. This is the first year we're seeing Cleveland, have this ascension up to that top spot. But 50-10 is nothing to really show.
No, like I said, concerned, yes. Worried, no, because I know that we've already gone through this gauntlet and have won already. Mm-hmm. But the team that I want to throw out there that the NBA needs to be afraid of.
And I'm going to stick to. Are you going East or West? Or you
I'm going West.
We'll get to. Let's stick to the East for a second.
Okay, East.
Get you on the West.
In the East is Cleveland because I'm not worried about the Knicks. They're glorified.
I was going to ask you. For me, it's the top 4: Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, and Bucks. I think you don't have to worry about anybody else in the East. I'm going with top 4. Is that how you feel?
Knicks are a glorified college team.
So you're not worried about the Knicks at all either. A lot of people aren't with the defense. I got Matt shaking his head either. The cat effect. Nobody wants to. I'm not counting the Knicks out right now. I think Brunson can make up for his softness, but to me, it's any of those top 4 teams in the East have a shot.
I would take Indiana over the Knicks.
Oh, so you got Indiana's at 5 and the Pistons at 6.
I would take Detroit over the Knicks.
What do you think, Matt? Who do you got? If you had to, if you were picking teams that could out of the East make the finals at the very least, what teams are you looking at? How many? Have a chance.
3.
Just have a chance. Okay.
3. I got Milwaukee. Well, Boston would be my first choice, then then Milwaukee, then Cleveland.
So again, you're out on the Knicks as well.
Yeah.
I think, not even 10% of you thinks they could make it.
Nah, Cat softer than paper in the rain, man. Y'all can believe that if you want. Y'all can believe that.
So is Mikal Bridges, but nobody will talk about that.
Well, let me tell you we'll talk about Cleveland. I want to get your opinion on Cleveland. Yeah. How good do you think Cleveland is? Like, do they have a chance to win it this year?
No.
Okay.
But they just don't have the talent hasn't really.
And the DeAndre Hunter trade's looking very good now. Is it like what they're
for right now?
10-1 or
you got to wait a couple
he's
more games and he'll get injured. not wishing that. I'm not wishing
coming
that.
Coming off a 32-point performance
but
the other day.
I'll say this: he's not the guy that people have to worry about. The guy that people have to worry about, because I think Garland's already starting to reach his ceiling.
Yeah.
It's Mobley.
Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
Mobley is the guy that could be.
He's been the difference this year.
Yeah, he can be the problem, bro. If he really continues to his ascension, because he's still got a long ways to go to get to his ceiling, that's going to be scary.
And again, you think about Boston, the way they played. When they played New York and when they played Cleveland, Tatum's been at the 5. He's the one that's been guarding Karl Anthony Towns. You see the standings on your screen right now. He's been guarding Towns, and then on the flip side, he's been guarding Jarrett Allen defensively for Cleveland. So those guys those teams have to find ways to, make those big men effective underneath when they've got Tatum on them.
Listen, when I watch Evan Mobley's game, all I'm seeing is Chris Bosh reincarnated. Like, that skill set is crazy. Like,
yeah,
he's more fluid. Like, I don't know how to explain. Like, Bosh is a better player right now, but there's he's. But I didn't know if Mobley was going to be able to get there. I'm going to be coming out of the draft.
I did.
I thought he'd be a good
thought
player.
Yeah.
And this is what you were hoping for. And I know you talked about it back then, but this is what you thought he could be already, and we're starting to see that.
Yeah. He's scary.
And mind you, Cleveland still has Imani Bates in the G League. Just sitting there.
Yep.
Wait till they call him up. He's just sitting there.
Again,
chilling.
I don't know if this will be the year for them. It wouldn't be crazy. Like, again, their ratings are through the roof. Not OKC. They're obviously sitting at the top in terms of if you look at the metrics. But Cleveland, what a year they are having. I think they can be. For me, it's again the top 4 in the East, and that's where I stop mine. But you guys limiting yours to 3 teams each, so you guys are a little more tight on the East. Let's jump over now to the Western Conference, and we talked about OKC 49-11, a game back of Cleveland in terms of overall standings, but the most, I guess you could say, successful metric season in the history of the league. Again, the Celtics, it was them a few years ago, might even have been last year, but OKC even doing a better job this year. But for me, what stands out when looking at this, guys, and that's LA at 2. They are 10-2, I think, since Luka, or 10-1 since the Luka trade. They don't have. I mean, Jackson Hayes is their starting center. It's hard to take a team seriously when you have Jackson Hayes and not a lot of depth there. No depth at all there at number 2. But I'm looking at LeBron and Luka, and to me, there's just when you got those two guys, there's a chance. And I can't. I want to say I hate the Lakers. I can't. I don't like them that much, but I think they have a chance that they could make it to the finals. Am I crazy for saying that?
No, you're
them
not.
Sitting here at the 2.
No, you're not. You're not.
I ain't going.
You're not.
A few weeks ago when they made the trade, I thought without a center they couldn't do it, but I've seen these two guys together now, and I think they could.
Only because of the experience, you're not crazy, but I don't know how their half-court offense is going to work when playoff time the game slows down, because who's going to be able to play off the ball more effectively between LeBron and Luka would be the problem in the playoffs. Who can actually slow it down? But also, they're not the team I'm worried about in the West.
Don't say Memphis.
I'm not worried about Memphis either.
Okay.
It's the number 5 seed.
Yeah.
That Houston Rockets coached by Udoka. It's something about fresh legs and great X and O's that does something to a team in the playoffs. And I look at the Houston Rockets like how I saw OKC a couple years ago.
Okay.
Like I put them in that same type of category, and they have a more dynamic player in Jalen Green.
Like you said, Udoka's done a phenomenal job.
And Şengün.
Fred VanVleet, we see how clutch he's been in the playoffs.
And Şengün in the post.
Alfred Şengün.
That's barbecue chicken. Anybody that guards him is barbecue chicken.
So for you, how many teams in the West you got with a chance? Just even a little bit of a chance you think could make the finals. You got OKC at 1, Lakers at 2, Denver at 3, Memphis 4, Houston 5, Clippers 6. Golden State's been very good with Jimmy at 7, and Minnesota 8, Sacramento 9.
I know you may say Golden State.
Huh?
Don't do that.
They've been playing well. They're sitting at, depending
done.
on where they finish up. I don't think they could make maybe the finals, but I think they could get to the conference finals potentially.
It's done.
Nah. Maybe on a my player mode we get some VC points.
Again, they've been fantastic with Jimmy in the line. You guys don't see Warriors?
No, I'm not.
Not even can you get that first round?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's about it
good.
though.
Yeah. Go ahead. How many teams you got in the West?
OKC, LA, Lakers.
Yeah. Gotta say Denver.
I'm not.
Not even no chance for Denver.
I know.
I disagree.
Houston.
And Houston, so 3. You got what about Minnesota? They got Randall back now. They had one big game yesterday. They obviously have been playing like they were last
Minnesota
year.
isn't serious enough.
Okay.
And I'll go Memphis 4 just because you have to.
With your boy Ja there. Matt, let me ask you now. You look to the West. For me, it's those top 4 teams, and that's where I cut it off. Same thing I had in the East right now. Thunder, Lakers, Nuggets. And you know what? I don't even know if I would have that. I'm going to go top 3, just the Thunder, Lakers, and Nuggets for me in the West. What about you?
I mean, me, it's OKC. I would say Denver, Lakers, then Memphis.
So there you got the 4. So you had the Lakers with a shot there.
Yeah, they have a shot. I mean, look, LeBron's still arguably one of the smartest players on the floor. He knows how to turn it up during the playoffs. I could see them making a run for sure.
Yeah, the center. When you look at the center, you look at OKC,
But
Chet Holmgren, right?
The center position for them is going to be the problem.
Yeah,
no one
it's a
cares
big
about the regular
problem.
season. Regular season?
Exactly. You get away with Jackson Hayes in the regular season.
It's the playoffs for Jackson Hayes. You be like,
exactly.
We got Jackson
and
Hayes, bro.
And that's what scares me a little bit about the Lakers.
Is the NBA really a center-centric league that they have to worry about it that much?
But I think
normally
I
would say no.
When you get
normally I would say no, but when you're dealing with a situation where you might have to face a Jaren Jackson, a Sengun, a Jokic,
or a Chet, even
a Chet, that's when it becomes a problem. It's not really about offense. You just need that guy to be able to guard those guys, and he is foul prone. That's the problem.
And again, Lakers not one of those teams. And you talk to JJ Redick. I think they haven't been shooting as many threes as other teams. We'll see if that changes going in. But
Memphis has a 2-hit. Not to cut you off. Memphis got a 2-hit monster because you have Edey.
Edey's a problem.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
a problem.
I mean, that's the thing about those teams in the West is they got those big guys inside, and that's
Yeah.
where the Lakers don't have. Lakers have those perimeter players. The defense has been good for them as of late, but that rim protection. I mean, Jackson Hayes isn't. I mean, he is what he is. It was a couple years ago. I think he was the 10th overall pick years ago to
Yeah.
New Orleans, and there was a little,
Just an
a
athlete.
short time where he thought he might be able to turn to something when Lonzo and them were there. Down
don't
in
got
New
the
Orleans.
brains.
But yeah, he has really not
And
panned out at all.
he need a few more PB&J sandwiches too. You know, he's a little light.
Yeah, he's got to. He's got to keep himself in line there off the
He
court.
kind of special ed, respectful.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with him as we keep it rolling here in the West. So those are our teams 3, 4, and 4 in contention there. Early prediction for the finals. They don't hold a lot of weight. We're really early in the season, but if I had to ask you right now, what would you guys have as your finals matchup?
The NBA needs Boston and LA.
Oh God,
They need it for ratings. They need it.
I'm going Boston. I'll
They
say
need it.
Boston and I'll do Boston and Denver.
They'll need
Boston and Denver.
Yeah.
I'm
Boston,
going,
Denver.
and I hope they finish off like this, and they can end up in the bottom. I'm going OKC and LA in the Western Conference Finals. Go 1-2 there out west, and then you look over in the East, and I got to go with Boston. I'm gonna go with Boston in the East. That's who I got to roll with. Again, you talked about the other teams. Cleveland not there yet. I think next year they'll get there.
Right.
We'll see if they make that extra step. And the Knicks with the Karl Anthony Towns in the playoffs. We'll see if
Nah,
he can
man.
guard.
I ain't doing it.
Not really going to protect the rim too much.
Karl
so we'll see how
Anthony
they do in
Towns
the
is
postseason.
soft, man. That boy built like plastic.
Listen, man, the Knicks are like Harold Melvin Blue Notes. They'll never go platinum. It's never going to happen.
That's terrible.
I'm
Never
going,
gonna happen.
as of right now, if you had to ask me, I'm going Boston out of the East, and I'll give you my finals matchup in the West. So we'll see. And with that being said, that could be what you said, Jason.
We didn't
We'll
talk
see.
about the Cameroon.
And we'll get there right now. That'll take us to our home
Yeah.
team here, guys. A team that we
Oh,
know
the
very
scammer?
well.
The scam.
And that is the Philadelphia 76ers. And
Yeah.
Joel Embiid, I know something came over the weekend. We talked about it. I sent it in the group chat that, potentially how this looks. And we know this year Joel Embiid has been very struggling with the injuries. He's not himself, hasn't been able to play without dealing with a lot of pain. He's come out and said that. And then it came out over the weekend that the Sixers could seek a medical retirement for Joel Embiid. So they would be able to recoup the entire contract if a doctor appointed by the NBA came to that
crazy.
conclusion. So, I mean, we all knew it was bad this year and he might be hurt, but to hear that over the weekend, it now sounds like maybe the career is in jeopardy. What are we thinking about Joel Embiid going forward? What do you think about his career in Philadelphia? Just overall, Joel Embiid
So
thoughts.
I'll say this. I've been one of Joel Embiid's biggest fans. I've been
As
on
have
air
I.
championing
I think we've
him.
all been pretty much for the most part.
But his career's done. We said this last year. I said it 2 years ago.
Well, I think one of us said we could have traded him a few
Yeah,
years
we
ago.
all said that.
I think we
I said that. But
too.
Tyrese Maxey's
But
been
let's
the
not
face.
disrespect him too much.
Tyrese Maxey, he disrespected himself. Tyrese Maxey's been the face of the Sixers for the last 2 years. They need to rebuild around him. The Paul George signing has proved to be awful as of right now. And
It's a good
Embiid,
word to describe it.
and Embiid is going to get that medical retirement. I don't think he plays again.
So you think there's a good chance that happened? I mean, that would be pretty monumental. I'm not sure the last time maybe Matthew would know that has happened. Has it ever happened?
It's been a long time.
Like, it would be. It's such an outlier of a thing. It's
Because if you had to get injections in your knee every day and you
still
still
look
miss
like-
games,
and you still look like that,
and you
too
still
when
miss
you're out
games,
there?
no,
Yeah.
and you still miss games. Injection every day and you still miss games. And Embiid's barely over 30. He's like 30, 31 years old.
Well, and again,
Oh, you know what?
we
Chris
don't like
Bosh.
Chris Bosh, yeah.
Oh, with the blood clot.
The blood
Yeah.
clots.
Chris
Yeah,
Bosh.
so that's actually, and again, that was a scary situation for him. Probably a little bit more serious. than
Even
we
Greg
are.
Oden had to retire early because he just couldn't play no more. Like they had to give him his money. He could, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I saw a video today. You looked, there was a montage of it. It was like, hey, don't hate on Embiid. Look at all the good times. And it was a highlight, of all the good things he did in that short time, in Philadelphia. And again, there were some chances for the Sixers over the years, 2019, the Kawhi shot, et cetera, where he had a chance, where he looked and he was the best player in the NBA for those seasons.
Oh.
And maybe we've seen the last of that. It's a little bit sad to think about when you're a Sixer fan here.
The Sixers are a poorly ran franchise from a GM, from a management perspective. You should never fire Elton Brand.
Yeah.
They were going further with Elton Brand than they have been with Daryl Morey. This is what it is.
Daryl Morey's
I think
food
it's
was
been
gold.
the same. I think they've just been
Like Elton Brand was building that team
Look,
in the contention.
let's just call it what it is. The process
Failed.
has become processed. It's done.
Yeah.
It's just put a stamp on it. It's done.
And people have said it over the years, but I think now if this were to happen, I mean, you can officially do that. If people
It's
have said the
official.
process is over, it's official.
But I'll say this to Jason's point. It's not that I have a problem. I mean, let's be honest. You look at Hinkie, he was bad. You look at the gentleman, Colangelo, wasn't bad but dealt badly
Well,
he was out.
He deserved to be out after with the
Sure,
the
absolutely,
scandal and everything
absolutely.
like that, yeah.
But
And he
the
took
point
Markelle Fultz.
is, like, he didn't do well when he
Yes,
was
correct.
Despite the scandal, he didn't do well.
Oh yeah, no doubt. You're right.
Yeah.
No, right. That's
The
right. That's
scandal
the
just
point I'm trying to
added
agree
to
with.
the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
right.
I mean?
Awful.
And
yeah.
then you get Elton Brand, who solidifies the situation, and then you get Daryl Morey. And I got to be honest with you, Daryl Morey. I got to be honest. That's the guy that I just don't get. He has this reputation that has preceded him in NBA circles that he's some type of czar of the game in a new age analytical way. He forgot the biggest thing. You got to know what talent look like, and you got to be able to build around it. You can do the numbers all day. I mean, it's like that old movie with Clint Eastwood, Trouble with the Curve. The analytics can tell you one thing, but you got to know what you're looking at. And if you don't know what you're looking at, like in Houston, it wasn't going to work. You tried to build the Golden State Warriors offense, bro. You had PJ Tucker out there trying to do something. Come on,
that
bro.
Warriors team again, one of my favorite teams to watch. I think one of the best teams in history when they had it. But they were a couple shots away from beating. They were up 3-2 on that team with Chris Paul before the Chris Paul hamstring injury. I don't think they would have won the series. I want to be clear. I still don't. But on paper, it was close for them.
I guess what I'm saying, you're right. They were close. But I think the problem with that whole scenario was you were asking players to play beyond their ability. Yeah. I mean, PJ Tucker, respect for what he's done. I mean, he was a second-round draft pick.
Yeah.
He had a heck of a career. But, I mean, dude, you're asking him to be Draymond Green for the Houston Rockets. He didn't have the passing ability.
And to your point,
didn't have the ability to make anything.
And to your point, right? He was a Sixer of the year after, and signed a nice contract after that year in Houston, and did absolutely nothing in a different.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. And again, respect. I get what you tried to do, but at the end of the day, it's like
Daryl Morey is the Mike D'Antoni GMs, man.
Oh, they're linked together anyway, so I guess I can make a little sense. But let me ask this. I mean, we all sat here in the offseason and wanted Paul George. I wanted LeBron James #1, if you guys remember. But we all sat here and wanted Paul George to be a Sixer. They made the deal, and we all had high. We were really high on the Sixers.
I was happy with it, yeah.
So he made the move I thought any GM would have made in that scenario. Go get sign Paul George to a max. They did that. I think all of us probably would have done that potentially. I think this year on paper, the Martin signing, Caleb Martin, I thought they were decent moves coming in. I really did. I thought the roster was looking good, and it just has not gone well at all.
I'm gonna tell you why.
I don't know if it's more of the coaching and the players on the floor, if it's Daryl Morey and team construction.
It's team construction because I think the Sixers were trying to force feed playing through Embiid so bad that PG coming out the gate had to alter his game so much to fit in.
It could be, I guess.
And I don't think he ever recovered.
So do you think Paul George still has it in him? You think it's a Sixer thing? He's still trying to find his groove in Philly? Like, if you think he was in LA this year with the Clippers, same scenario, that he would be playing better like he was last year?
Yeah.
It's a situational change?
I do.
Yeah. Okay. But I also think, Daryl Morey has done some bad decisions that have been.
I agree.
It's not just necessarily this Paul George. I mean, the way he handled the whole Harden situation.
And talk about that.
Harden's
because Harden's
still
balling right now
balling.
with LA. And don't get me wrong, we all saw the series with Boston. We were up 3-2.
Correct.
Harden had 9 points in the game 7. He was horrible the last 2 games of that series. And I thought, maybe we should move on too. He's looked a lot. I mean, he's looked even better.
All-star again.
I mean, he's been better. He's been looking really good.
You pair him in a situation like this year. If you paired him with Maxey and you have Maxey literally running the 2 and having Harden run the point.
And they had it. And Harden, let's not forget, Harden led league in assists his last 2 years in Philly.
Yeah,
right.
Yes, he did. That's right.
Right.
And Embiid's MVP year was with James Harden.
And he led the league in assists.
That pick and roll was filthy.
And if we're being honest, Morey's whole tenure is just like D'Antonio, which is a perfect example. Because D'Antonio's whole career, he hitched his ride to Nash. Morey's whole career, he's hitched his ride to Harden.
In both places.
In both places.
And the crazy part is, you're right. And he was he had a picture of James Harden in his house. He called him basketball Jesus. Right. That was his guy. Right. And then for him to just kick him to the curb like that. And again, it was the pressure from the organization. The ownership wanted Harden gone. The fans wanted Harden gone too. But I think it was hard for him. I don't know if he necessarily wanted to do it like that, but he had to. He did. And now it looks like the bad move. But we all sat here and Mike probably would have done the same thing as well. But and you look at it now, you wish.
And you know what? I'm gonna get some more love to James Harden. I'm gonna go a step further with this. You're gonna have to put James Harden as a top 5 shooting guard all the time.
Yeah.
You have to.
Oh yeah.
Him,
You
and
have
Wade,
to.
Him, Wade, Kobe, Jordan, those type of four right there.
You
Those are
you
five
you,
guys.
you actually have to. Like,
Are those 4 out of the 5?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I would say that. I would say that's about accurate. Yeah.
And he's probably the #1 combo guard of all time.
Yeah.
I don't see better than
And scoring.
Combo
and
guard.
scoring
Jerry West.
As well. Yeah, I mean.
That's
we used
nasty
to,
work.
Watching him
But-
back in those
But it's
years,
true.
It's true.
Nasty work, but it's true.
It's true.
The logo himself.
I
Who
mean,
knows what happened to the Sixers if you
You look at Harden's era in Houston alone. I mean,
Yeah, that was, man, he was fun.
Harden in Houston. That was those early years. Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
That-
Was-
right after the trade, it was just.
and he should have won MVP too. They hating on him too. He should have
Yeah,
won
yeah,
MVP.
yeah. They didn't like what he was
They
doing.
like his
How
game.
many MVPs does Steph have?
two.
Does he have 2? I think
Yeah,
about
first
Unanimous. And I don't think he should have been
That's
unanimous
crazy.
that year. Yeah, that
Just crazy.
yeah,
that was the 2015, right? 2015.
That was when
2016
everybody
year.
fell in love with him.
Yep, 2015, 2016. That the first
Act like that
final.
man was Rudy out there. It was
won
crazy.
the finals that year too. Anything else as we close out the NBA basketball March Madness around the quarter? Any thoughts on college or NBA before we move on?
yes. USC and Juju Watkins are for real. They won their first conference title
at 30? Yes,
in 39 years. Their first conference title since the Cheryl Miller years. So I want y'all to understand how important that is.
I gotta get.
No, I'm sorry,
I
29
gotta get
29 years.
Laura a little
Since-
Juju jersey. That's what she needs.
Since the Lisa Leslie era, that first conference title since then.
That's-
And I think USC is a problem in the women's game this year. And as far as the men's is a toss-up right
Yeah,
now.
it's
I will
a
also
lot
say,
of up and downs from a lot of these teams. I saw a stat the other day. I think it was like 10 out of the top 25 ranked. The top 10 and the top 25 coming into the season weren't even ranked right now. It's been a crazy up and down.
but if I had to pick one team on the men's side,
Florida Gators?
and I hate to say this, not at all, not at all. It pains me to say this team's name
Duke?
with a passion.
It has to be, right?
But it's Duke.
Hey, there we go. Cooper Flag, hop on board.
Duke. It's not just Cooper though. It's the rest
Yeah,
of
they
the
got a good team.
squad. Like it's Duke to me looks like the favorite,
Yeah. I'd agree, unfortunately.
and I think they're the most consistent team in the top 5.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, in a year of inconsistency. So we'll dive in. We're going to have our entire bracket breakdown. We're going to spend a whole show breaking down the bracket here in a few weeks, right after that selection Sunday. So it's actually 14 days, 2 weeks exactly from today. We will be here breaking down the NCAA bracket here coming out. Matthew, anything on basketball?
I mean, I just echo everything he says. And the scary thing about Duke is they got guys on the bench that I think are better than some of the starters. Like Evans, to me, is better than Knuppel. It's crazy. He gets no time.
And sometimes those guys really, excel in the tournament. Maybe he'll get some minutes there and get going.
And shout out to St. John's, white suit,
Rick
Rick
Pitino.
Pitino, man. All them players there.
He's taken a lot of stuff over the years, and he's got those boys playing
But
good.
again, think about it. St. John's is only good because of the NIL. He bought all those players and brought them there.
That seems to be the way a lot of things are trending here down the stretch. And again, don't forget CAA tournament, and I'm sure Delaware State and the MEAC, all those tournaments coming up next week and beyond too. So something to pay attention to.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Waterman. We're going to win this thing, man.
That's
We're going
right.
to get back.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Delaware pull out a CAA, and then Del State get a MEAC. That'd be great for the state of Delaware if we can work on something like that.
I like
Penn's
the-
gonna have to pick it up though. A little.
Like to wrap up with DIAA boys basketball.
That's right.
Let's go St. E's. Young boy Mason Price, sophomore guard. Watch out for him.
Final 4 appearance.
Final 4, second year in a row. I want to see St. E's versus Dover in the finals. That's all I want to
Dover,
see.
your defending champs, back in the Final Four as
That's
well.
what
I
I
do
wanna
want to talk
see.
a little bit about the combine, the NFL
Sure.
draft coming up right around. I do want to talk about the quarterbacks here before we get out of here today. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. Word out of the combine when you talk to people around India this week was that Cam Ward is definitively the #1 quarterback on everybody's boards. The only chance of potentially being the #1 pick, they said Shedeur really, in the 6 to 10 range, and some teams don't even have him as a top 15 guy. On their boards. So I wanted to get your guys' opinions. I like Shedeur Sanders. I would have them both, or Shedeur a little bit higher as well. And when we talk about them, I still got a lot of stuff to do before all that comes out. But I want to get your guys' opinions on Shedeur and Cam Ward and where you stand on the quarterback situation here in this year's draft. Because a lot of people are comparing it to the Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis here, which I just don't think it's that bad. I really don't.
No, not at all.
So what do you guys? I wanted to get your guys' opinion.
Cam Ward's going to be the first quarterback off the board.
What do you like? If you were drafting #1, you would take Cam Ward over Shedeur?
At #1, yes.
Okay.
But I think Abdul Carter's going to be number one pick in the draft. That's just what I think.
Yeah, my number one player is Travis Hunter on my big board in terms of overall prospects, and number 2 is Abdul Carter. So those would be my 2 top guys. But off the court, I mean, even with the quarterbacks, I want to talk about the quarterbacks now, but just in terms of
I do think
clarity.
Shador's going to drop because of his arrogance and because of his father is. Because they're going to dictate what team he goes to, climate-wise and everything else. So Shador's going to probably fall somewhere between 6 and 10. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, people are saying it's such a quarterback needy year. That's the only reason that he's going 6 through 10. How do you feel, Matthew?
I have Cam Ward. I like Cam Ward better than Shador. There's parts of Shador I'm not sold on as a prospect. Out of the quarterback class, I think you're going to see. I think it's going to be 5 quarterbacks taken in this draft, first round.
5 in this first round?
I think Cam, Shador. I think Jackson Dart solidified himself this year. I think Combine he did well, and then I think with the intrigue, you have Jalen Monroe, who has the athletic profile that teams like to take a chance on, and then this guy came out of nowhere was Tyler Shough from Louisville.
I saw that.
25, definitely a little older, so maybe teams wait for him in the second round, but it really is just going to depend on that team's need at quarterback.
So how did Jalen Monroe's hands all of a sudden grow from the season to the combine?
Yeah. It was a crazy development. It's still a little bit under average what you want to see, but it was a wild development there. Yeah. And again, I'm not the biggest Milroe guy, so I wouldn't take Milroe in the first 2 rounds if I was drafting. I like Jackson Dart. I've been on Dart since the beginning of the season. I think he's going to, and I said this a couple months ago, I think he's going to make his way back into this was what I said months ago. He's going to be in the back end of the first round. Now I think that is now almost consensus. So we'll see what happens there.
Oh, he's top 15.
Yeah, I mean, and some are talking about the Steelers picking him at 21, but that makes me a little bit nervous. We saw them take Pickett around the same area a few years ago, though Kenny Pickett more of a Andy Dalton comparison guy there, and he's kind of been not even that here in the NFL. Really took me out in the Super Bowl with that 4th down play, Kenny. You really got me good on that one. But we'll see what happens. I like Shador a little bit more than most people. I don't think I have him over top of Cam Ward right now, but I do think it's closer than a lot of people have. But again, my favorite player of the draft is Travis Hunter. I think he's the best receiver in the draft. I think he's the best cornerback in the draft, no matter where you want to put him. And I think a team who gets him, I don't know where I would like to see him. I think the Patriots at 3 would be really cool. I don't think he'll get there. But I'd like to see him maybe go to New England, Drake May, and then play opposite of Christian Gonzalez. I think that would be ideal for them.
Nasty. Ooh.
So you guys had the number 1 pick. We heard Tennessee say they have a generational talent that they have in mind at number 1. Reports coming out today that both the Giants and the Jets have contacted Tennessee about trading for the number 1 pick. If you guys are sitting at number 1, who would you guys take with the number 1 pick?
If I'm Tennessee?
If you're Tennessee.
Taking a quarterback.
I'm thinking Cam Ward.
I mean, look, I get Abdul Carter. I get Hunter might be the better talents. I'm not disputing that. But you got Will Levis.
League.
You got Will Levis. And I heard somebody, and I'm not going to mention their name, say that they think Will Levis has arm talent.
Some people still do around the league. They do. I know.
I'm going to say this respectfully.
Mayo man.
I'm going to say this respectfully. If he was from Kentucky State, and you know what I'm saying when I say that, y'all would not be saying he still got arm talent. Y'all would not be saying none of this. You're saying this because he's from Kentucky and he look a certain way. And you think, oh, maybe we can still make him into something. Nah, bruh. We seen that man. And it ain't the arm that's the issue. It's this. The man ain't got it, bro.
I'll tell you what. He's got a lot of Carson Wentz in his blood.
Yeah, man. Get out of here with it. Like, people got to stop with this. I'm so sick of it. Listen, some of these guys are who you had when you got them. You had a whole year with this guy.
2 years.
2 years.
2 years. You telling me you didn't know?
One with this coaching staff.
And here's the thing about Tennessee. So they needed a year from Malik Willis. This dude need more than 2 years, and you telling me you still think he might got something in it? Nah, bro. He not good. Bro.
I agree with you. I would move on from Levis too, but again, this year, it's a tough situation. They need a lot of things in Tennessee. When you think about star players and with the tight, I mean, who do you even comes to mind? Jeff Simmons on the defensive line, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Simmons, that's it.
So they're going to try. I wouldn't shock me if they took Travis Hunter here, but again, Cam Ward, either one I'd be okay with Tennessee. But there's a lot of steam guys picking up. It seems like the Giants are ready to make a move. They want to move up to number 1.
I don't care what the Giants want. Because you're a trash organization, too. I'm tired of the Giants. Just burn it down. You already gave up the best player in what, the last 5 years in the
you.
NFL?
Thank you.
And you just gifted him to the Eagles.
In
Super
division.
Bowl 59 champs.
Yeah, right.
In division.
Right. You suck.
Held up a trophy.
You guys suck. I don't want to hear about this really make a move. What are you going to trade up for? Are you going to trade Evan Neal? Bro, no one wants him, bro. He's trash. I'm tired of the Giants.
Jets and Giants. Who would you rather see get the #1 pick? And
Jets.
And whoever will do it, they're going to take a quarterback.
Jets, because they're actually a better run franchise.
And I would tell you this, guys. For me personally,
That's
again, I
not a
told you,
lot.
Cam might be the #1 pick. I'm with you. Whoever wants to take quarterback with #1, take Cam. I have no problem with these other teams if you're Tennessee, or if you're trading back, getting some stuff, or if you're just staying put deeper in the top 10 and taking Shador. I have no problem with that.
Here's the thing. In any other draft, Travis Hunter goes #1.
Right.
Yes.
But in Tennessee, you draft Travis Hunter #1. Who the hell will throw the ball to him?
Well, again, and a lot of people are saying he will be a corner to start, but you're right, ain't going to make
But
him
I'm saying,
do a
who
less.
would throw the ball to him? They would have to go get a free agent.
That's the next question.
They don't want to go younger.
Well,
Like, they
here's
don't
the
want to
next
go older. They want to
question.
go
You
younger.
look at guys. Sam Darnold is one of the top free agent guys out there. The league is buzzing around Sam Darnold.
For what?
I personally think, and I know you guys probably feel the same way as you most often do, but I think, very situational. KOC, easy quarterback offense. It makes quarterbacks look good, right? He comes off that career year. Now I think if he goes somewhere else, we could see a Jets Darnold again, right?
Yeah.
So
No,
we'll
we're not gonna see it.
No, you're on Sam Darnold. I would not sign
No,
Sam
no.
Darnold for that money.
He won't get franchised by tomorrow at $40 million.
No.
But I think he'll sign a Baker Mayfield-esque team-friendly deal
Okay, I think $30 million a year.
and stay in Minnesota. That's what they're going to do.
That's what he should do.
Should do.
That's what he should do.
That's what
If
they're
I'm
going
his
to do.
dad or his mom, I'm begging him to do that.
But then again, guys, you think about it, they spent the 9th overall pick last year on J.J. McCarthy, who's
So
coming
what?
off the torn ACL. They're going to have him for another year.
You got to let his knee heal again.
Well,
You
did
gotta
you trade J.J. McCarthy potentially or no?
No.
Keep him.
Okay.
I would stash J.J. McCarthy for another year.
Yeah.
And if Darnold flames out, then you already had the insurance with McCarthy still there.
And you talk about free agent quarterback, Stafford was one of the ones, guys, people are talking about. He has
Yep.
re-signed. He's staying in L.A. You got
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers. People are wondering about Sam Darnold.
Retired, bro.
Aaron
Yo,
Rodgers.
get him out of here, bro.
And where's this Super Bowl talk coming from with the Rams because Stafford stayed? Where's the Super Bowl talk coming from? I've heard
That's been a lot. It's been a big
I've
talk.
heard Super Bowl talk.
Yeah.
Where? How? Why?
They're
when?
saying they're saying they were one play away
Super
from beating
Bowl.
the Eagles.
Yes, I've been hearing Super Bowl talk.
Yeah,
One
I
player
have.
away from the Eagles.
That's what they've been saying. One play away. They said they could
Bruh.
beat the Eagles in that final drive.
We gotta start checking people's drinks that they drinking when they do make these takes. That's
But again,
crazy.
I mean, to your point, though, if the Giants or Jets aren't able to get up to #1, I can see one of them making a big push for Sam Darnold, though I do think it would be a mistake. If Sam Darnold goes to the Giants, it's going to be a disaster.
Oh, it's gonna be
So we'll see what happens, but they may offer him the money. The Giants, it seems like this year they want to solidify that position after what they went through with Daniel Jones. We'll find out, but it looks now as if Tennessee is listening to offers, and it seems right now
If
it could
I'm a
be the
quarterback,
Giants.
let me ask y'all this: if you had the ability to be like you know how Elway and how Eli and the Giants trade up #1,
And Phillip Rivers.
Tell
would
him
you
no?
sit there and be like, "Nah, bro, I'm
not playing for you."
not playing for y'all."
And let me tell you,
Because I would do.
If you were, and I don't know if I'd ever do a prayer, but you think about last year's class with Caleb, Jaden, and Drake. Those three guys, I think if any of those three guys were in this class, they would obviously be the clear #1 pick.
Sure.
And if I was one of those, if they had such high grades coming out, if I was one of those three, I might do it too. This year, when you got a Cam Ward and a Shador Sanders, I don't think they're high profile enough in terms of
Shador
draft
is.
grades.
Shador is.
Oh no, I
Shador
meant skill, like grade. If you were grading them off a combine sample, like if they came out with those guys last year, J.J. McCarthy might have a higher grade than.
I think Cam
Shador
Ward would
and
probably
Cam.
do it, but Shador, they ain't got a shot with Shador.
Yeah, okay, that could be.
Unless Dion blesses it, and there was talk that the Giants were very chummy with Shador.
And he had Giants cleats.
And I gotta be honest, like
I want to see him go to the Raiders. I would love to see Shador in Las Vegas. That's what I want to see.
I mean, he didn't have an O-line in Colorado.
Well, nothing, and let me tell you, when you watch the tape on that, nothing is worse than the offense. I don't know how they were supposed to have gotten better. They were not. They were awful. Worst offensive line potentially in
They
college
got to
football.
bowl games.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, and that's why I'm a little bit higher on Shador, I think, than other people are.
No, I respect
So
that.
we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I did it. I mean, as of right now, Cam Ward would be #1.
Just to be clear, Cam Ward I have above Shador, but
yes,
it ain't by
exactly, and that's how
Not
I
leaps and
feel.
bounds, yeah.
No.
'Cause I'm with you. That's how I feel about it. And you've got
Yeah.
guys in the league that have Shador outside their top 15s. Some have him outside the first round.
And it's a travesty
No,
that
that's
Shiloh didn't get an invite to the combine.
And, yeah,
Is it?
I agree.
I
I mean,
think so.
I agree with that too because everybody,
Just a
for the most
commonality.
part, should be
Yeah.
able to get to the combine.
I
You're
think
right,
so.
There was one
350
dude,
invites.
what was his name? Towns from Oklahoma. I forget his name. I think his name's Towns. He's a linebacker. Boy, he was. I was like, yo, somebody check that man background. He must got some ties to the NFL. 'Cause I don't know how you got this invite, bro. He was out there dropping balls.
Yeah, everything.
And
everything.
There was a lot of bad mouth about Will Howard, his performance throwing the football. There was
man.
some tough route running from
Maybe
the receivers and
Shiloh does
stuff.
deserve it because that man, I was like, bro, how you get
But again,
here?
it's going to be an interesting word also is that Cleveland is, and again, this is all could be a smoke screen. This is what happens when you get this close to the draft. Cleveland is said to have, they're going to take a quarterback at number 2 is what they're saying. I don't know if they're hoping Cam Ward is there at 2 because I'm sure that's who they have their eye on. But either they move up to number 1. They want a quarterback. I don't know if they're going to take Shador number 2.
Shador ain't going to Cleveland no way.
So that's
No,
what I agree with that. So we'll find out. But they apparently really
Cam
want a
Ward would
quarterback
probably go
as
to
well.
Cleveland, but ain't
Yeah,
Shador
I
ain't
think
going to
you-
Cleveland, bro.
Yeah, Shador.
The only way that Cleveland was up number 2 is that they know for sure that Tennessee's going to take Abdul Carter at 1.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, they're already at 2.
But I'm saying, no, I mean, Tennessee would have to draft Abdul Carter 1.
Well, and let
I
me
don't
ask
think
you
they
this.
will.
Yeah.
New GM Borgonzi has come out and said we have a generational talent. We're taking it number 1. So when you hear that, you think, in my opinion, you think Travis Hunter.
Sure.
But then again, you're obviously going to say that about whoever you plan on drafting anyway. Obviously for the morale, etc. Could be Cam Ward. For me, if you generational, it goes Hunter, Carter, then Ward would be option number 3. When you think about that, what do you guys hear? When you guys heard that, what it made you think they might do?
I mean,
they need a
to me, it sound
quarterback.
like-
They need a quarterback,
They
but
need
when
a
you say that,
quarterback.
it makes you think they're going in a different direction to me. No.
Absolutely.
Will Levis cannot get the ball.
Well,
Travis
that's
Hunter.
something I think everybody in this building can agree on that.
Yeah.
It has to be Cam.
And I'm a huge Abdul Carter fan too. I think he is going to be fantastic off the edge.
But that injury is a red flag to me.
And there's a couple. He had the shoulder, and now the other one. There is a couple injuries.
And I think the next tier would probably be what? Mason Graham, Will Campbell.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, those two. I think when you look at Will Campbell, Mason, that's your top 4 or 5 in terms of big board. I don't know how it's going to go in the draft, but those are the top 4 players on my big board as of right now.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we finished off at NBA and the NFL here tonight. Let's go around closing words. We'll be back next week.
Yep.
And then the week following will be our bracket breakdown. And then we'll get into our mock draft season. So a lot coming up here. And then it'll be time to dive even deeper into the NBA. It was great to get back into the association here a little bit today. Jason, how you feeling as we round out here Monday?
I'm good, but I got beef.
Oh.
Sorry, Nick. You got to catch a stray.
Oh, boy.
Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Always comes back to this.
It's been 3 weeks.
I didn't even bring it up. Well, no, I did because Matthew talked about Saquon.
It's been 3 weeks. Please stop sharing these memes and videos across social media. You won your second Super Bowl. Okay.
Act like you've been there before.
Yeah, like that. Like, but stop. 'Cause it's becoming excessive. It's becoming corny. We know you won, okay? Just stop sharing it, please. just stop. We know
You're
you
hurting
won.
other people's feelings.
It's not even that.
I know.
Stop sharing it. We know. Anybody else, y'all would call us corny or Joe, whatever other Philly adjective you use to say somebody's whack or something. You would be doing that to everybody else. But you're the ones doing it. Stop sharing the videos, please. We know it's over. I understand that your basketball team sucks and your hockey team sucks. Big team's
Oh,
okay.
man, everybody's catches. We even talk about the Eagles today. You
But
got to sit up here and catch
stop
shit.
sharing
Man,
it.
kind of.
I'm done. Good night.
Matthew, how you feeling?
I'm feeling better than that. Man, that was
Jason must have been
Eagle
in the field
fans
and
been
stuff.
going at him. Yeah, I mean, I want to say just some words of love to Debo because
That's oh, how did we not mention that? Yeah, Debo to your Debo from the Niners to the Commanders. You gonna miss him?
Definitely. I mean, look, listen. There's been a lot of talk about him as being washed up, and I do think he's at the tail end of his career. He's missed a lot of games over the course of the last 3 years, and I think people are judging him on a standard that I don't think you can judge him on. I think they're judging him as a wide receiver, and I think with Samuel, you have to judge him as a football player. He's going to work well for the Commanders. He's going to give Daniels some breathers. There's going to be things that Daniels will be able to do that Samuel will help greatly. The Commanders last year, and it looked like to me, and there's other people that like Jason I know watches them probably more than I do even. But there were parts of the game last year where it looked like the only way they could generate offense was either Daniels or Scary Terry. And I think with adding Samuel in this mix, you get a guy that you can just throw a simple screenplay, and this guy is talented enough that he can extend the plays and get you yards, tough yards, screens, sweeps, special teams. I don't think his value is where people are placing it, which is just as a wideout. That's not who he is. He's a football player, and he's very good. And I've always appreciated what he's brought to us. We will definitely miss him this year. And there will be a drop-off for us on our side because there are things that he does that are just so integral to quarterback play. And I saw what he did with Jimmy G. I've seen what he's done with Brock Purdy. And I think Jaden Daniels will take a even better step this year with having that talent around him.
You know, I agree. I think it could have, might have been a perfect match for him. You said, and nobody likes to run more stuff at or behind the line of scrimmage. And Cliff Kingsbury. Also, you talk about a team that needs some guys that get some touches in the backfield, right? Eckler and Brian Robinson both missing tons of time due to injury. He's going to get a lot of time in the backfield. He's going to get a lot of time out wide. I think I thought Pittsburgh would have been a good fit too, but I think Washington is the best possible fit.
I love the fit, but if I'm San Fran, I'm calling tampering against the Commanders. They were trying to get Ayuk last year, ended up getting
That's
Debo
right.
anyway.
That's
I'm calling tampering.
well, they're going to need Ayuk back now.
But I do think, like
Ricky
Matt said,
well.
Debo in Washington is going to be great because he brings a dynamic. He's better at pass blocking than a lot of people give credit, and you're going to need that. And just in case Zach Ertz doesn't stay healthy next year, you have an insurance plan and Debo who can take those intermediate routes, does what you do, and you finally take pressure off of Scary Terry. For the first time in his career, he'll see single coverage. Like that's in the healthy Brian Robinson next year. The offense is loaded. Now, what the Commanders need in the draft or in free agency, another corner and a linebacker or two.
And Jonathan Allen requesting a trade out of Washington
He's
as
not going
well,
anywhere.
so he's going to be on his way out.
He's not going anywhere.
But then again, Myles Garrett, 3 teams that have been in that mix: Detroit, the Eagles, and Washington as well. So who knows where he'll end up or if he gets traded.
Do the Eagles need more help on the
losing Sweat and Bond. Well,
Y'all
today,
trying to be like the 85 Bears?
it's going to be, and Howie said this during the
They
offseason,
still
it's
won't.
going to be a different look next year. It's going to be, they're already without Darius Slay, who's been cut.
Wait a
today.
minute. Say that with a straight face again.
Darius Slay has been cut.
No, you said
It's
like
going to be different next year?
Darius Slay is addition by subtraction.
Oh, what? Coming off a Super Bowl. He was great this year.
I'm not going to.
No, I think the young bulls are what made him look great.
No, he got helped out, but he was also very good. I thought he had a really
Oh,
good
man,
year.
it's all about the exciting whites, baby. Ain't nobody worry about Darius Slay.
Yeah, and then you got
But he gets
Quinyon
cut.
Mitchell.
Josh
Son.
Sweat and Zach Bond are 2 guys that might not be back. I know
Braun's
Philadelphia
the
Eagles
bigger-
fan. Agreed.
bigger
And I
loss.
want him back. He would be, but the
That money
way
he-
that he's talking, I don't think he's going to be back.
But
I really don't.
Sweat is the guy that I think has a lot of value with you guys. That people, hey man, time to get that Bryce Huff contract.
Well,
going,
that's what I'm
man.
saying. He might be part of that deal to get Myles
You
Garrett.
guys got to get Bryce Huff out there.
That's right.
Big Fangio got to get that boy out there, man.
So we'll see what happens. I'm telling you, Eagles fans going to be a lot different defensively, maybe up front and stuff, than what you're maybe expecting. So
Let me ask you this just real quick. Just when do you think the Jalen Carter experiment happens with the contract?
You mean like when do they re-sign him? You're saying like
Because if I'm Jalen Carter,
you want money already, huh?
oh,
I give him whatever he wants.
yeah.
I give him whatever.
Because
whatever you
here's-
want, big fella.
Because here's what I'm saying. Like he's already, and this is what makes him so frightening. He's already a top 5 guy at his position, and he's still like in the second year, bro. It's like,
it's crazy.
he gets next year if he takes another step.
He could be Aaron Donald already.
Dog, y'all gonna have to get some bread. And how are you gonna be able to do that bonus money giveaway thing? Because them defensive players like, I want my money right now, bro. It's gonna be different. It ain't like that quarterback money where you load it up all up front and give all the bonus up, and you
Unlike
get
the Cowboys,
Yeah.
who didn't do that.
Speaking
well.
of the Cowboys, I heard y'all cutting Trey Lance, man. Appreciate y'all, man, for that pick. You know.
Trey Lance.
Shout out to Jerry Jones, best owner in sports, man. I appreciate you.
We don't have time
Zach
to talk
Martin
about the
retired,
Cowboys
you know.
today, but
That
they
means-
talk about teams with no cap space at all. You look at the Dallas Cowboys; they're in a lot of trouble, and then in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns, they're in a lot of trouble. Kevin Durant could be traded in the offseason. I'd say that they're looking bleak. I don't know why I threw Phoenix into this,
They
but
should have signed Bradley Beal.
they needed. They're gonna have to do something. Where's Kevin Durant end up next year? Not Phoenix. I didn't think he'd be on Phoenix this year. Somehow he was, and they still stink. So
I don't know where he's going to end up.
he's gonna be somewhere. He said contender. They said he's going to trade him to a contender.
I'm tired of Kevin Durant. I gotta be honest.
I would love KD to go back to OKC.
I want KD to retire.
You know what? That's the where he should go.
I want
100%.
KD to retire. Can we have KD
100%. He's got to go to OKC.
I'm tired of KD, man. So tired.
I
He
mean,
might
but
retire
honestly,
soon.
I kind of do want KD to retire. I want
Curry to retire.
Curry. I want a few players to retire.
I don't know if I do. I'm hanging
LeBron,
on,
you
bro.
gotta go.
well,
Oh man,
listen.
Don't push him out the door.
Yeah.
but Matt, here's the problem because Luka's there. He might play another 2 years.
Oh, he can easily now.
Well, he keep getting them Balco recharges.
Also, before we head out, guys, Mavericks have raised ticket prices.
For
today. It just came out. It was all over some of the
For
news
what?
outlets. They have raised their prices. Mavericks have raised their prices.
Their ownership has to be the
Dog.
What is going on in Dallas
Can
now
I-
is overall. We got
Look,
the Cowboys and the Mavericks. My God, it's a
I
laughing
gotta be
stock.
honest. Like if I
Mavericks fan.
if I did not have the tinfoil hat and was an Alex Jones subscriber, I'm telling you right now, yo, this whole Dallas Mavericks
Something's
thing,
right. Something has to be
something's
going on,
weird, bro.
Something's not adding up.
It's not, man.
It's like you're,
The math ain't math.
You remember Major League?
Yeah, oh,
It's
yeah.
It's like we're gonna tank and
Yep.
we're gonna move. Like,
Yeah, that's
what y'all doing in Dallas, bro? You're like
Major League.
You're like we're gonna trade all the elite
Like when
talent,
they're winning games, you have
and now
Nico's
we're gonna
up there
raise the
going,
prices. Like what?
So nobody shows up.
So is Kyrie Willie Mays Hayes right now?
Willie Mays Hayes. They better go to Las Vegas. We got Las
So there
Vegas
it is.
Mavericks.
I don't know if Dennis can find the article. We're heading out of here quickly.
They better
but
be the Las Vegas
season
Mavericks,
ticket
man.
prices also have now gone up 8% for Dallas. So if you wanted those season tickets again next year, an 8%
This is
increase.
crazy, bro.
What is going on?
Yo.
I don't know, but that'll do it
This
for
is
us here
crazy.
on a Monday night. Dallas is in shambles, but that's okay for us, for Jason, Matthew, Dennis, and myself. We will see you next week here on DETV.